Welcome back, everyone. I am so incredibly thrilled to have you here for another explainer. We're going to unpack a topic today that is absolutely redefining global supply chains. Now, if you joined us for our last explainer, you might remember we broke down Saudi Arabia's $100 billion logistics gamble, looking at how macro infrastructure is reshaping global trade. Well, today, we're zooming way in. We're going from the global map right down to the warehouse floor to look at what's actually happening inside these massive facilities. We're talking about the evolution of warehouse logistics and this massive shift toward a human and robot collaborative environment. Real quick, before we jump into the deep end, if you're new to the community and you love understanding the hidden mechanics of how the world really works, take a quick second to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. It genuinely helps us keep bringing you these deep dives. And hey, if you missed that Saudi Arabia explainer, definitely go check it out on our channel page later. Okay, let's dive into this. 750,000. That right there is where our story begins today. That is the staggering number of robots Amazon currently operates across its vast fulfillment network. Just take a second to really picture that scale. Hundreds of thousands of autonomous machines zipping across concrete floors, lifting entire shelves, sorting parcels, working around the clock. Honestly, it sounds like the ultimate sci-fi scenario, right? A fully automated world where machines just run the whole show. But then we look at this next number, over 1 million. Despite deploying 750,000 robots, Amazon still employs well over 1 million human beings. In fact, they are continually hiring. When you put those two numbers side by side, it sounds almost impossible. It creates this massive paradox that leaves a lot of people scratching their heads. It forces us to ask an incredibly important question. If robots are supposedly taking all the jobs, why in the world are these companies still hiring? Why does warehouse employment continue to grow in so many markets? I mean, if you read the headlines today, you'd think the logistics workforce was facing some sort of impending apocalypse. There is so much widespread anxiety out there about automation just completely wiping out the working class. But the actual data, it shows something completely different. And that brings us to Section 1, the automation misunderstanding. The fear of imminent job loss is actually based on a huge, fundamental misconception. So, the crucial point here is understanding the difference between replacing entire jobs versus replacing specific tasks. Robots are not replacing your job. They are replacing tasks within your job. Think about a warehouse associate's day. It's made up of dozens of different tasks, right? Walking miles across a facility, lifting heavy boxes, inspecting damaged goods, updating inventory software, solving routing errors. What automation actually does is slice off the walking and the heavy lifting. The job itself doesn't vanish. The nature of the daily work simply evolves. Which leads us to the core thesis of today's explainer. The warehouse of the future is not a zero-sum game. It isn't human versus robot. It is absolutely human plus robot. The future model relies entirely on human and machine collaboration. If you walk into one of these modern fulfillment centers expecting a war between man and machine, you've got it all wrong. It's actually a beautifully choreographed dance. All right, Section 2, where automation stands today. To really grasp where these careers are headed, let's ground ourselves in reality for a second. Despite the flashy footage you might see online, most warehouses globally are not fully automated. In fact, a vast majority of facilities around the world still rely incredibly heavily on manual human labor. However, the most advanced operations are transforming at lightning speed. Giants like Amazon, DHL, Walmart, and Ocado are pouring billions, literally billions with a B, into automation technologies. But they aren't doing this just to slash headcount. They're doing it to achieve massive productivity gains. Global e-commerce just continues to explode. You and I, the customers, expect faster and faster delivery. At the exact same time, persistent labor shortages remain a huge hurdle in a lot of regions, and supply chains are under intense pressure to be more efficient. They physically cannot hire humans fast enough to meet the demand, so automation is the only bridge. So what are these new systems actually doing? Well, here is what warehouse robots do best. They excel at executing repetitive, highly predictable actions. They handle the physically demanding labor. Instead of a human walking 10 miles a day to fetch items, autonomous mobile robots transport entire shelves of inventory across vast facilities, bringing it right to the worker. They move heavy loads, they sort packages at blistering speeds, and they operate 24/7 with total, unwavering consistency. For the human worker, this is actually a massive win. These systems drastically reduce human fatigue, they skyrocket overall productivity, and they significantly lower the risk of workplace injuries by taking over the dangerous heavy lifting. Now, what's really fascinating here is the flip side of the coin. Even the most advanced, state-of-the-art robots still fundamentally struggle with uncertainty. An AI vision system might be able to scan 10,000 perfect barcodes an hour, but what happens when a package gets crushed? What happens when a barcode is smudged, an item is mislabeled, or an unexpected spill blocks an aisle? The robot stops. It just freezes. It doesn't know what to do. It fails when faced with the unexpected. And that beautifully transitions us to the human advantage. When the robot stops, the human steps in. Human judgment is absolutely essential and, right now, completely irreplaceable. Humans handle the exceptions. We solve complex problems on the fly. We adapt to sudden operational disruptions, like a truck arriving late or a massive sudden surge in a specific product category. We manage customer complaints. We make complex decisions that require context, empathy, and critical thinking. Things that algorithms simply cannot compute. Let's move to Section 3, the collaborative future. This is where we see exactly how all these pieces build into a single system. In practice, it's a clean, incredibly efficient division of labor based on respective strengths. Robots handle the routine, humans handle the exceptions. The most successful and profitable logistics facilities on the planet today are the ones that perfectly combine robotic routine with human judgment. The robot does the lifting, the fetching, and the moving. The human does the thinking, the problem-solving, and the quality control. When you perfectly align those two forces, the results of this hybrid collaboration are staggering. You get significantly higher productivity. Operations become incredibly safe because humans are removed from the most dangerous physical tasks. Fulfillment happens faster than ever before, but look at that last point. This is the absolute most crucial takeaway for anyone working in this field today. There is a massively growing demand for tech-savvy logistics workers. Workers who understand how to operate, troubleshoot, and optimize alongside these machines are becoming the most valuable assets in the entire supply chain. Which brings me to a final provocative thought for you to really mull over. Will you work alongside technology or be replaced by it? The future is not fully automated. It is collaborative, but that means the skills required are changing. If your only skill is repetitive physical labor, yes, you're absolutely at risk. But if you focus on developing your problem-solving skills, your technical literacy, and your ability to manage exceptions, your career in logistics is going to be more secure and lucrative than ever. You need to start developing those skills right now. And that is exactly what we are here to help you do. Uncover, understand, and stay ahead. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer on the automation paradox. If you found this breakdown helpful and you want to keep sharpening your edge in this rapidly evolving industry, make sure you use the channel's resources. Like the explainer, subscribe to our supply chain community, and hit the bell so you get notified about our new deep dives every single week. Stay curious, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.